The dog died in the fire, but I let the dog live because that's what she told me to do. She said, look, don't hurt him. Know what I mean? I was gonna set him on fire. She said, don't hurt him. He had nothing to do with this. This is all my fault. This is me. She said it was her fault because she let her mom come in and kind of mess with her head. I said, look, man, don't you? I said, so that's how you feel. She was like, look, whatever you gonna do to him, do it to me. So that's when I shot her in the head.
This is Love Hurts. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for future content. 31-year-old Zavier Hill, affectionately known as Zavi, was fun-loving, cheerful, creative, outgoing, and super smart. After high school, she received a 4-year scholarship to attend Norfolk State University. She was a natural leader and a member of the Virginia Beach chapter of the Delta Sigma Theta sorority. While attending NSU, Zavi became interested in communications, and she went on to graduate with honors, receiving her bachelor's degree in mass communications. She later completed a master's degree in human services counseling and was actively working on a second master's degree in strategic communications. Zavi was the proud owner of 114, a company where she uplifted Jesus and focused on helping individuals with brand messaging and website and social media development. She was committed to helping people find their purpose. But her real passion was her podcast called Let's Talk Tuesday, where she talked about Christ and culture. Her goal for the podcast was to share the light, love, and peace found in Jesus. She talked about anything and everything that related to the culture and God.
Excuse that tapping. That's my dog walking around. Good evening, everyone. Today is Tuesday. You know what that means. Thanks, Mom. It's Tuesday, so you know what that means. It's another episode of Let's Talk Tuesday. And so if you saw my flyer, which hopefully you did, if you didn't, that means my marketing strategies aren't working. But if you saw my flyer, tonight we are talking about, the flyer said, Let It Go, Lessons on Forgiveness. And so forgiving people and forgiveness itself is a very complicated topic, right? Forgiveness gets real complicated real fast. And so I wasn't clear on how we were going to tackle it. But thank the Lord, He gave me direction. So tonight we're going to talk about forgiving ourselves and how sometimes when we don't forgive ourselves, it causes us to be stuck. So we're going to talk through that and talk through how we fix that.
With all Zavi's accolades and accomplishments and her amazing spiritual connection, it's hard to believe that she would ever be involved with a man like 30-year-old Beal, but she was. Cola and Zavi had been dating for about 2 years. Little is known about exactly how the couple met, but by 2022, they were living together. Cola wasn't exactly who Zavi thought he was. He had a criminal history dating back to 2005 and had served 6 years in prison for various crimes, including armed robbery and sexual assault on a child under 13. He was sentenced to a year in prison in 2018 for the sexual assault crime that happened in 2005. But because of a plea agreement, his charge was reduced to a misdemeanor under the condition that he would register as a sex offender. Now, I don't know exactly how much about Cola's criminal past Zavi was aware of, but I'm almost positive she had no idea that he was capable of doing the sick, demented things that he did in March of 2022. On March 22nd of 2022, Zavi and Cola got into a heated argument. According to him, the argument was about the future of their relationship and the fact that her parents were interfering by calling her constantly, asking whether or not Cola was working and asking questions about when the two would get married. According to Cola, the pressure was just too much for him to handle, and he snapped. He bound and gagged Zavi before ultimately shooting her. He reported that his original plan was to set her dog on fire, but she told him not to harm the dog. She stated that he could do to her whatever he planned on doing to the dog. And that's when Cola put a bullet in her head, killing her instantly. Cola later left the home, but he continued to come and go from the house in Zavie's car in the days following the murder, even going so far as to take property out of her home. 2 days later, he set the house and Zavie's dog on fire. Reportedly, the dog was still alive while locked in a kennel when Cola set fire to him. He then fled to his stepfather's home, 73-year-old Clifton Baxter. Mr. Baxter was once married to Cola's mom, and although he and the mother divorced, he stayed in Cola's life and basically raised him. Once Cola made it to his stepfather's place, he put a gun to the back of his head and pulled the trigger while the elderly man lay taking a nap on the couch. Police found him dead on the morning of March 25th of 2022. Cola told investigators with him during the murder of Clifton Baxter was his cousin, 32-year-old Downing McLean, who became his third victim. Cola claimed he and his cousin got into an argument after he killed Clifton, so he figured he had already killed 2 people, he could kill again, and that's exactly what he did when he shot Downing in the face, leaving him for dead. After that murder, Cola reportedly kidnapped Downing's girlfriend and held her hostage in an Airbnb, where he watched the news coverage about his manhunt.
Police believe a homicide and an arson are linked. You are looking at video from last week on Baccalaureate Drive in Virginia Beach, where that fire happened. The victim inside, police say, was shot. A day before and minutes away, another person found shot.
Yeah, we're here on Baccalaureate Drive. It's right near Virginia Wesleyan University, where police responded to back on March 4th, it was a Thursday night, and they found this house here behind me set on fire. And when they went inside, they found 31-year-old Zavier Hill suffering from a gunshot wound. They believe there is one man responsible then for killing her and setting her house on fire. We're learning more about that victim today. We're learning that Hill was a minister, an NSU grad, and a business owner. The suspect in that case, 30-year-old Cola Beal, and he may now be linked to another case, this one where on Friday on Linda Court, just 3 minutes away, police found 73-year-old Clifton Baxter dead from a gunshot wound. Police believe the 2 incidents are connected to the same suspect, again, 30-year-old Cola Beal. Beal is being charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder and arson in those 2 deaths. Now, I found today that Beal is actually a registered sex offender. In 2018, Beal was charged with sexual assault against a minor. Now, we're learning more today, too, that Beal has an extensive criminal record, arrests dating back to 2012 for robberies, assaults, and other probation violations. We'll continue.
After a few days on the run, Cola was eventually arrested on March 30th of 2022 in Hampton, Virginia, and he spoke with reporters candidly about what led to the murder of Zavier.
So what made me snap was, it was like I was to the point where I had so much stuff was going on between me, probation, everything. Like, the probation really made me snap because they reset my probation after 2 years and I ain't did shit wrong. So they reset my probation for a low when I won't really have to see my probation officer for like every 3 months to every day, two house visits, to me showing up to the office once a month. Like, I had to reset my whole life again. Like, I just came home, so I figured, hey, you know what I mean, if y'all can keep putting this pressure on me for some shit I ain't doing, I might as well be doing some shit and y'all can hear me. So that was another reason. That was a whole other reason. I told you each person had a different reason why I did it. It won't just like I just woke up and said I'm gonna kill my girlfriend. It won't like that. You know what I mean? It was the outsiders. It was her mom who was trying to like orchestrate her into moving away from me when I had been there for her daughter the whole time while I wasn't nobody around. I had been staying there at the house with her for almost 2 years. I ain't seen them but 2 times come to the house. So she didn't even want to start a new job. She asked me if I was cool with her starting a new job. I was like, yeah, why not? I was about to start my business. But it comes to her mom, like, she asked her just like this. She said, well, what about him? He ain't working, but he providing for himself, but what about him? What he gonna do? So it started messing with her. She started breaking down, crying, all that other stuff. And now I'm in there taking care of her because her mom called her crying about that. So the dog died in the fire, but I let the dog live because that's what she told me to do. She said, look, don't hurt him. You know what I mean? I was gonna set him on fire. She said, don't hurt him. He had nothing to do with this. This is all my fault. This is me. She said it was her fault because she let her mom come in and kind of mess with her head. I said, look, man, don't you? I said, so that's how you feel. She was like, look, whatever you gonna do to him, do it to me. So that's when I shot her in the head.
Cola was eventually convicted of all 3 murders and sentenced to 3 life terms plus 62 years.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. We begin this busy night of news with a convicted killer slapped with 3 life sentences, with more possibly to come for Beal. Today, Beal was sentenced for 2 killings in Virginia Beach and an arson in that case. Still ahead, a 3rd sentencing after he was found guilty of murder in Norfolk.
The father of Zavier Hill searched for the perfect word to describe his daughter's killer. I'd call you an animal, but animals kill to survive. You are a monster because it is in your instinct and it is who you are. Beal IV was convicted of shooting Hill, 31, to death in her home after he had tied her up. Beal then set the house on fire with Hill's body still in it, after setting her dog on fire as well. Netta Baxter described the loss of her father Clifton, who was 72. She described how he fought in Vietnam and raised Beal. Clifton Baxter was in the final stages of cancer, and neither his daughter nor his sister, who spoke with us afterward, ever imagined his life would end in murder.
My family helped raise Beal from a little boy till a grown man, and for him to do this to my family, it's shocking, it's hurting. I just don't understand. I guess I'll never understand it.
Judge, here's the breakdown on the 3 life sentences, 1 each for the murder of Hill and Baxter, a 3rd life sentence for arson because he set fire and burned down Hill's home with her body in it. This is not the end of court dates for Mr. Beal. Next month in Norfolk, he is sentenced for killing his own cousin, Downing McLean. That killing happened just a few days after the 2 killings here in Virginia Beach.
Beal has now been found guilty of his 3rd murder after a killing spree back in March of 2022, where he killed his girlfriend Zavier Hill, his father figure Clifton Baxter, and his cousin Downing McLean. After more than an hour of deliberating, the jury found Beal guilty of 1st degree and using a gun to commit a felony.
Mr. Beal is a profound danger to the public, and he will spend if not the rest of his life, then the substantial majority of the rest of his life in prison.
After the verdict, I reached out to the Virginia Beach jail to see if Beal would like to comment. However, after I made a request, he told the sheriff's office he declines any interview unless he's paid, so we declined. However, back in March, after his guilty verdict in Virginia Beach, he did tell us that he has some remorse.
Now from seeing the videos and all that, yes sir.
The craziest thing about this whole case is that history repeated itself. In 2014, Beal's biological father, also named Beal, was arrested and convicted of killing his wife. I guess it's safe to say the apple didn't fall far from the tree. My heart truly goes out to the families of all 3 victims involved in this tragedy. If you are in a domestic violence relationship, create an out plan and get out now. Once you are out, do not turn back. Turning back can cost you your life. As always, loves, don't forget to subscribe, thumbs up, and hit that notification bell for future content.